Hey everyone, and welcome back. Are you ready to dive into some World War II history with us today?
Always.
All right, well, today we're going to be taking a look at a P-51 Mustang,
Oh, wow.
nicknamed Babydoll, and it's
Right.
really an interesting story, and I think you're going to love it.
I'm intrigued already.
Okay, good.
P-51 Mustangs, always a good topic.
Yeah, and what we have here is a mix of these historical accounts, right? And then we have some personal stories that kind of bring this plane to life a little more for us.
I love that. I love the personal touch in these stories because I think it really makes you realize that this was a real event that happened,
Yeah.
with real people.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes we forget that when we're studying history.
Right. It's easy to think about, big picture things and not the actual people who were there.
Yeah, and so to get down to that level with the baby doll,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really fascinating.
And one of the things that I'm really intrigued by is, the name Baby Doll, right? And it's got this, this pinup girl nose art, which, kind of seems a little counterintuitive to like the seriousness of,
War.
yeah, a war machine,
Right.
And I think that kind of is going to lead us down some really cool paths to like uncover who this pilot was and what was going on back then.
Yeah, and the P-51 Mustang, of course, played a crucial role in World War II.
Right.
This is the plane that had the range to escort bombers all the way into Germany, which no other Allied fighter could do at the time.
Oh, wow. So this was really like
Game changer.
a game changer, yeah, for the European theater.
Absolutely. Think about it. Before the Mustang, bombers were sitting ducks over Germany.
Yeah,
And the introduction of the P-51 allowed them to reach their targets
right.
and significantly damaged the German war effort,
Yeah, so before this, I mean, you have bombers going over, but they were just
losing a ton.
getting shot down.
Yeah, a ton of aircraft and men, and
Yeah.
it was really a desperate situation.
Wow, so the Mustang really had,
Huge impact.
yeah.
And I think that's something people sometimes don't realize.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I realized that
Yeah.
before we started looking into this.
Yeah, and Baby Doll
Yeah.
is a great example of this story.
Yeah. Now, so to get right into this, the information that we have about Baby Doll
Okay.
specifically came from someone that we're going to call Romeo Juliet from Valdosta.
Very mysterious.
Yeah, and Romeo Juliet was our 21st subscriber to something.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll just leave that at that for now.
All right, I won't cry.
Okay, so Romeo Juliet sent us some information, and we're gonna kind of go through this today.
Very cool.
And I think it just adds this other layer to this whole story, right?
Absolutely. It makes you feel like you're a part of it somehow.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so cool about this particular one. I think this is gonna be a good one.
Well, I'm excited to get into it.
Okay, so now speaking of personal touches, like why do you think they called this?
Baby Doll?
Yeah, Baby Doll. I was just thinking, we name our cars, we name our boats.
We name our pets.
We name our pets, it's like
Okay,
we
okay.
form this connection with things
It's a bond.
by naming them.
Absolutely.
So, I'm wondering, like, why Baby Doll?
Well, I think about the bond that a pilot must have felt with his plane during World War II.
Oh, yeah,
They depended on these machines for their lives.
absolutely.
They flew mission after mission in these things, facing incredible danger.
Yeah.
It was a partnership in the truest sense of the word.
So maybe calling it, something like Baby Doll
Yeah.
made them feel a little bit less alone up there, maybe.
I think so.
Okay,
It could have been a reminder of home,
right.
a loved one, a sweetheart.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating to consider how this nickname reflects the pilot's personality
Right.
and the broader wartime culture.
And we're going to find out about this pilot,
Yes,
and I think that's going to be super interesting.
I think so too, because,
Sure.
even the pinup girl knows art is more than just decoration.
Right.
It was a symbol of morale, a way to personalize these machines of war.
Yeah, to make it your own.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got this plane. It's got this, very personal name and this artwork.
Right.
And we know the pilot's name, and he is Lieutenant Colonel John W.F. Thompson.
All right.
So now that we have his name, tell us about this guy.
Well, from what we've gathered, he wasn't just your average pilot.
Okay.
He was incredibly skilled, experienced, always calm under pressure.
Oh.
He was a respected leader and a decorated fighter pilot with multiple air-to-air victories.
So not just a leader on the ground,
Nope.
but like an ace in the air?
Yeah, true ace.
Wow. So, what do you think? Do you think that the way he flew Babydoll and kind of approached combat
Yeah.
was a reflection of his personality?
That's a great question. And, sometimes a pilot's personality really shines through in their flying style.
Yeah.
So is Alteen Thompson's calm demeanor reflected in his flying.
Right.
Was he making very smooth, calculated maneuvers, or was he more daring?
Right.
Taking risks that reflected his leadership on the ground.
Right.
Unfortunately, the sources don't give us specific details about that.
Man. Okay. Well,
But it's a great question to think about.
yeah, and I wonder, maybe Romeo and Juliet knows.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe that's something we can find out.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to find that out. Okay, well, let's zoom out just a little bit.
Okay.
And we're going to place Babydoll in the context of, the 375th Fighter Squadron.
Right.
And the 361st Fighter Group.
These units are crucial to understanding the story of Babydoll.
Okay.
And the 361st was one of the very first groups to receive P-51 Mustangs.
Wow.
And they quickly proved how effective this new fighter could be.
So they were on the cutting edge. They were like...
They were the pioneers.
Yeah.
They were really pushing the envelope with this new aircraft.
And do you think that their experience, flying these early Mustangs,
Yeah.
shaped how they were used in later battles?
I think so, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, they were instrumental in developing the tactics and strategies that made the P-51 such a dominant force.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really amazing to think about,
Yeah.
these guys were out there on the front lines figuring it all out.
Wow, okay, so we've got the plane, we've got the pilot, we've got the units.
Right.
But, why does Babydoll even matter today?
That's a great question.
Right, it's been, 80 years almost
Yeah.
since World War II?
Yeah, almost.
So why do we care about Babydoll?
I think Babydoll symbolizes this incredible bond that pilots had with their planes,
Right.
forged in the heat of battle.
Okay.
And it reminds us that even amidst the brutality of war,
Yeah.
there's still this very human need for individuality and connection.
It's like we were talking about earlier, naming things, making it personal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about making it your own.
Yeah, okay, well, I think, we're going to get into this a little bit more, but I'm
Yeah.
hooked. I'm ready.
I am too.
I want to learn more about this.
Let's do it.
Is 361st Fighter Group
All right.
and, kind of their role in, the air war over Europe.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. We could delve into their formation, their transition to the P-51,
Yeah.
and some of their most pivotal missions,
Okay, cool.
including their involvement in the Big Week raids,
Yeah, this is already.
which were really crucial.
This is so cool.
Yeah, they were a turning point in the war.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm ready when you are.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the 361st and these big week raids.
Yeah.
What were those exactly?
Well, by early 1944, the Allies were stepping up their bombing campaign against Germany,
Right.
really trying to cripple their ability to wage war.
Okay.
And the Big Week in February of that year was a massive coordinated air offensive,
Oh, wow.
targeting aircraft factories and other key industrial sites.
So these were pretty important.
Hugely important.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that these missions were pretty dangerous.
Incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, especially for the bomber crews.
Absolutely.
Going, deep into enemy territory.
Yeah, they were flying deep into enemy territory, facing heavy flak,
Right.
attacks from German fighters. I mean, it was
And that's
a
where,
really, really dangerous mission.
yeah, and that's where the 361st and, their P-51s came in.
Exactly. Their job was to escort those bombers,
Keep them safe.
keep them safe, take out any enemy fighters they encountered.
So you mentioned, that they were one of the first groups to get the P-51.
Right.
What made them such good escort fighters? I mean, is it just because they had the range?
Range was definitely crucial.
Okay.
That's what allowed them to escort the bombers all the way to Berlin and back if they needed to.
Oh, wow.
But the P-51 was also just a powerful, agile aircraft in its own right.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it had top speed over 400 miles per hour.
Wow.
Formidable armament of 6.50 caliber machine guns.
That's a lot of firepower.
Yeah, and thanks to that Merlin engine,
Right.
it could hold its own against the best German fighters.
So it wasn't just like,
It wasn't just a flying gas tank.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
yeah.
was a true fighter.
Wow. So how did the 361st do in these big week raids?
They played a vital role.
Okay.
Not only did they protect the bombers,
Right.
but they inflicted heavy losses on the Luftwaffe, shot down a lot of enemy aircraft.
Wow.
Those raids were a turning point in the air war.
Okay.
They really crippled the German Air Force
Wow.
and paved the way for Allied air superiority.
It's amazing to think about, Babydoll, right? Like this one plane
Yeah.
with its personal touches right in the middle of all that.
Right in the thick of it.
Yeah. Do any of the accounts mention Babydoll or Elton Thompson specifically?
You know, unfortunately, the sources we have don't mention any specific actions
Okay.
involving them during Big Week.
All right.
But knowing that the 361st played such a key role, it's safe to assume
They
that
were there.
LT and Cole Thompson and Babydoll were right there in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Huh.
It just adds to the mystique a little bit, I guess. You know, that they were there, part of this crucial moment in history,
Yeah.
even if we don't have all the details.
But it makes you want to dig deeper, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like,
Try to find those missing pieces of the story.
right, exactly. I mean, you know, what other missions might they have flown?
Exactly.
You know, what were the challenges?
What did they face?
Yeah.
What were the victories?
What kind of incredible feats of airmanship
Yeah.
did they pull off? We don't know.
Speaking of, kind of amazing feats, we were talking about how sometimes a pilot's personality comes out
Right.
in their flying style.
Yeah. Do we know anything about Auntie Cole Thompson's approach to combat?
Yeah, like was he, cautious, calculated, or was he more of a risk taker? Yeah, that's a great question.
Right.
And one I wish we had more insight into. We know that he was calm under pressure,
Right.
but does that translate into, precise calculated maneuvers?
Right.
Or did he have this ability to make these split-second decisions in the heat of battle? Unfortunately, the sources don't give us those specific details.
Man, well,
It's frustrating.
yeah, it is. It's like you just want to know more,
Right.
but it's fun to speculate.
It is.
Right.
I mean, if the name of the plane is anything to go by,
Yeah.
maybe there was a little bit of a playful side to this guy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you name your war machine Babydoll.
And put a pinup girl on the nose.
Yeah,
It takes a certain personality to do that.
it does. Yeah, so.
So was there a specific woman
Right.
who inspired that pinup art?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
A sweetheart back home?
Yeah.
Maybe a favorite Hollywood actress?
Or just an image he liked.
Yeah. Something to remind him of life beyond the war.
Right. Another piece of the puzzle.
It is.
Man, I wish we knew.
I know. Wouldn't that be great
Yeah.
to know the story behind that artwork?
I wonder if Romeo and Juliet knows.
I don't know.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
It really highlights how these seemingly small details, you know.
A name, a piece of artwork can open up a window to the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
They make history feel more personal.
Yeah, it's not just facts and figures and dates anymore. It's like real people.
Real people, real stories.
Okay, so we've talked about the 361st and these big, air battles.
Right.
But what about, life outside of combat?
Yeah.
Like, what was it like for these pilots when they weren't, flying missions?
Well, life on an airbase during World War II was
Yeah.
a strange mix of boredom,
Okay.
camaraderie, and constant tension.
Oh, I can imagine, yeah.
They trained,
Right.
maintained their aircraft, and waited for that next mission.
And I bet they worried a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Knowing that any day could be their last.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have weighed heavily on them.
Did they find ways to cope with that, To
Yeah.
find, moments of joy or normalcy?
Well, from what we know, camaraderie played a huge role.
Okay.
I mean, these men were more than just fellow pilots.
Right.
They were brothers in arms,
Yeah.
sharing a common purpose, relying on each other for support.
Yeah.
There were certainly moments of laughter, shared stories,
Right.
maybe even some pranks to break the tension.
Yeah, I bet.
It makes you think about the bonds that must have formed between them.
Oh, yeah. Especially, in a squadron like the 375th.
Yeah, flying and fighting together day after day.
Yeah.
They must have become incredibly close.
And, we talked about those personal connections and naming things and making them your own.
And their planes were more than just tools.
Right.
They were extensions of themselves.
Yeah, they're partners in the air.
Exactly. You can see why a name like Babydoll
Yeah.
and that personalized artwork would take on such significance.
Yeah, for sure. It's just, it's incredible how, these individual stories,
Yeah.
like Babydoll, can give us this glimpse into...
A much larger historical context.
Yeah, and I think that that's what's really neat about this.
It helps us understand World War II not just as a series of battles and strategies,
Right.
but as an experience
Yeah.
lived by real people.
Okay, so we've talked about, the 361st,
Yeah.
the P-51, air war over Europe.
Right.
I'm curious, though, what happened to Babydoll and Lunty and Cole Thompson after the war?
That's a good question.
Did they make it home safely?
Unfortunately, the sources we have don't provide a definitive answer.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, records for individual aircraft and pilot fates
Right.
aren't always complete, especially from that era.
Man, I was hoping for a happy ending.
I know, me too.
Okay, so Babydoll could still be out there somewhere.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe sitting in a museum.
Yeah.
Maybe even restored to its former glory.
Right, right.
Or perhaps it met a less fortunate end.
Oh, yeah.
Lost in combat or scrapped after the war.
Yeah.
We just don't know for sure.
Man, that's too bad. Well, if Babydoll is out there,
Yeah.
I hope its story continues to be told. It's a good reminder of, incredible bravery and sacrifice of those who fought in World War II.
And the personal connections they formed with their machines.
Yeah.
Those planes were more than just machines.
Right, right.
They were partners, friends even.
Yeah, and maybe someone out there knows more about Babydoll.
Maybe.
And, L.T. and Cole Thompson's fate.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, maybe Romeo and Juliet has some inside information.
It's possible. We can always hope.
Yeah, but, even without knowing the full story,
Yeah.
it's clear that Babydoll is more than just a plane.
Absolutely.
It's a symbol of courage, resilience, the human spirit in the face of adversity.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on World War II and the individuals who fought in it.
Me too. It's been a real eye-opener.
I'm eager to hear more about the broader impact of the P-51 Mustang,
Yeah.
on the war.
I think that's a great topic to explore next.
Okay.
We can delve into how the P-51's capabilities really shifted the balance of power in the air
Okay.
and ultimately contributed to the Allied victory.
Okay. I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's dive in.
All right, so we've talked about Babydoll and L.T. and Cole Thompson and the 361st Fighter Group, but let's zoom out even more.
Okay, yeah.
And talk about, the P-51 Mustang and its impact on World War II, the bigger picture.
Right.
How did this one plane change things?
Well, the P-51 Mustang was a turning point in the air war.
Okay.
It's that combination of speed, range, and firepower that really tipped the scales in favor of the Allies.
Okay.
Up until that point, long-range bombing raids were incredibly risky.
Yeah.
Bombers were very vulnerable to attacks by German fighters.
Right.
And the losses were significant.
So the P-51s were like guardian angels for the bomber?
Exactly.
Okay.
With P-51 escorts, bombers could reach their targets deep inside Germany with much greater safety, and this allowed the Allies to really cripple German industry, disrupt their supply lines, and ultimately weaken their ability to make war.
That must have been a huge morale boost for the bomber crews, knowing they had these fighters watching their back.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to be a bomber crew flying into Germany without an escort.
Yeah, that would be
terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying.
So to have those P-51s there, it would have been a huge relief.
Yeah, and it wasn't just about protecting the bombers, though, right?
No, not at all.
You said the P-51 could,
Yeah, its performance allowed it to engage and defeat German fighters on their own terms.
We were talking about, its speed and firepower and stuff earlier, but
Right.
Were there any other features that made the P-51 so effective in combat?
It was incredibly agile.
Oh, okay.
The P-51's design gave it excellent maneuverability,
Okay.
allowed it to outturn and outmaneuver many German fighters.
Wow. So it could really...
It could dance. It could really dance.
Wow. And it had that Merlin engine, the 6.50 caliber?
Yeah, you put all that together, and it was a formidable opponent in a dogfight.
So it wasn't just a long-range escort. It
This
was...
is a true fighter.
Yeah, a true fighter plane that could hold its own.
Exactly.
Wow.
And its success had a ripple effect across the entire war.
Okay.
As the P-51 gained air superiority,
Yeah.
the Luftwaffe was forced to withdraw, and this gave the Allies control of the skies over Europe,
Wow.
which was a crucial factor in the eventual Allied victory.
So Babydoll and all these other P-51s, they weren't just fighting battles. They
Yeah.
were changing the whole course of the war.
In many ways, yes.
Wow.
Their impact went far beyond individual victories. They shifted that balance of power in the air,
Right.
paved the way for the Allied invasion of Europe, and ultimately the defeat of Nazi Germany.
That's incredible. Yeah. And it really just goes to show that even,
Single plane.
yeah, a single plane with its own, unique story and connection to the pilot can be part of something so much bigger than itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why stories like Babydolls are so important.
Yeah.
They remind us that history isn't just about grand strategies and sweeping movements. It's about the individuals, their experiences,
Yeah.
and the personal connections they forge, even amidst the chaos of war.
Man, this has been a really great deep dive. I've learned so much about Babydoll and the P-51 Mustang and
It's been a pleasure.
World War II, sharing this journey with you.
Yeah. What are some of the key takeaways for our listeners?
I think it's important to remember that history is made up of countless individual stories.
Yeah,
Each plane, each pilot, each mission has its own unique narrative.
right.
And exploring those stories can give us a much richer and deeper understanding of the past.
And it makes history more relatable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It reminds us that these were real people
Yeah.
with their own hopes, their own fears, their own dreams.
Yeah, not just names and dates in a history book. Yeah, and second, I think Babydoll highlights the human element of war.
Okay.
These pilots weren't just cogs in a machine.
Right.
They personalized their aircraft.
Right.
They formed bonds with their fellow airmen, and
Yeah.
they found ways to maintain their humanity amidst the brutality of conflict.
It's like even in the worst situations, you see that human spirit shine through.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And finally, I think it's worth reflecting on the impact that technology can have, not just on warfare, but on the course of history itself.
Yeah.
P-51 Mustang is a prime example of how a single invention can change the world.
Absolutely. Well, this has been a really eye-opening deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new appreciation for World War II history and for the men and women who fought in that conflict.
Yeah, it's been a real privilege to be a part of this.
Yeah, and a special shout out to Romeo and Juliet
Oh yeah, big thanks to Romeo and Juliet.
for bringing this fascinating story to our attention, and thanks to all of you for joining us on this deep dive into history.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you'll join us again for the next one. We'll see you then.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop asking questions.